What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're going to go over the top 8 of none other than the event that Eagle Nest did for their case tournament for BT-22, which is kind of cool. So without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. I want to say Eagle Nest does a lot of good things for the community. He hosts every Monday, and I think Thursdays he hosts events weekly. So yeah, and he also does these case tournaments when it comes down to the new releases. He does winner boxes, which is really amazing, just so that players get a chance at some nice product. And it's never bad, right? You can enter in for $35 payments for their case events. And I think his regular events, if we can kind of find them, is, winner boxes. Just let's go to details on this. Look at that now. BT proxy event. This is $10 entries for a chance at one booster box. If more and more show up, the boxes increase and everything kind of goes up from there. It's kind of cool where they come from, which I really like what they're doing for the community. And yeah, you kind of can just see where things land. So yeah, if we're going to get into it, let's talk about the event itself, because we can just take a look on Limitless, and it's just information like this does help out a little bit of players, right? So standings, these are our top 8. So we had a Gallimon X, Blue Green Imperial Digimon, Growl Loop, Royal Knights, Black Machine Digimon, which is supposed to be Purple Machine Digimon, Red Phoenix Mon, Gallimon X, Red Greymon X Antibody, Red Phoenix Mon for 9th, Green Bloom Lord. This is the big deck we're going to be really needing to talk about. You got Blue Green Imperial Digimon, Royal Knights, Puppet, Gallimon, Sakuya, Green Blue Bloom Lord, Purple Red Imperial Digimon, Cross, Royal Knights, Red Greymon X Antibody. It's kind of crazy that 2 people brought it in, and still, 3-2 is nothing to scoff at. So let's just take a look here. First place, if I remember correctly, that's Gallon X, right? Very interesting. This isn't Gallon X. Let me double check. Analog Youth. Oh, so it was not Gallon X. This is just straight up. This is Digimon. So instead of calling it what it's supposed to be, they went with this. So this is just very stock list. It's hit or miss on if they're playing Analog Youth, or they're usually it's 3 Gravity Crush, not 4. And most players don't pick up 4. This is always a questionable 1 to 3 of in lists. So it's kind of cool to see they're sitting on 3. But right now, if you take a look, you have Gallant and Gallimon as well. So yeah, there's a lot of variety on deck building wise. Well, not really for this deck. It has probably the best engine for the game right now, and a lot of decks are using it. Now you have Imperial Digimon. Imperial Digimon always lives up to the hype. Being able to lock down and suspend your opponent's Digimon is huge. Just being able to lock it out and just apply damage that way. Jeez Louise. Okay. History. Boop. Let's reopen this, and hopefully... Nope, I cannot. God, that's stupid. Okay. Let's go back and open up the Imperial Digimon. Open up. So, let's take a look here. We do have the normal V-Mon and Wormmon engine, because again, Davis and Ken will be playing these out for free, and just being able to search out your pieces and set yourself up extensively as long as this tamer is around. The Lydramon is kind of new to the list. That helps out. 1 Stingmon restriction. I like the Invisi tech. It's kind of interesting because again, it lets you basically have a guaranteed threat in security that if they don't answer could lead to them just clearing house and just having their own pathway of winning, right? So just something to think about. And again, we have Medieval Gallant, just being Medieval Gallant in the list. Now we do have another version. This is the exact same list. So, nope, here we go. Here's the 3rd place list. Sorry, this one played 4 of each rookie, 4 of this at 3. This one, they are playing the EX 3 War Growl that basically mills some cards, so it helps fuel things further. But they're using the Digimon Superior mode. So basically what they'll do is just swing with a Growl X antibody, use the when digivolving effect when they digivolve to get 1 damage in, swing again, and then if it dies in one of those 2 checks, they don't care. Worst case, they will use like a removal spell like Calling or Demonic to hopefully pop and then replay the Rush Gila to get back into line to deal some more damage. It's a very common combo nowadays with this that they use this version in, because again, they're just turboing to mill 10 cards they need, and basically hoping your opponent milled gets 10 cards removed, or in any vice versa to get to the 20 magic number, and boom, you just apply pressure that way. Now, Royal Knights is always hit or miss on what they want to be playing. Emperor is actually not a bad tech. This punishes any deck that wants to just try to do that rookie raising shenanigans that they know and love for. So with Digimon Emperor out, this can punish a lot of decks, because again, in Royal Knights, you don't care about your raising at all. So just being able to slow down your opponent turn after turn is just vitally strong in my opinion. And again, the deck has so much going for it with the new Mecha plus Omnimon X antibody. It just clears house. Now, Mugen's like hit or miss on how they want to build. I think there was one event that we had a DM version of Mugen get top 4, which again, I think is pretty amazing, because again, a lot of players aren't really thinking about the pure DM build. At the moment, they're kind of thinking more along the lines of using like the Demi Mera egg, which is very commonplace to just speed turbo your trash, and then you slam down Attack of the Heavy Mobile with like Supreme Connection on board to reduce costs, and just reduce your costs even further and get in some damage that way. So yeah, I kind of see where they're coming from. There's nothing really out of the ordinary. You got your boosting, you have a way of digivolving, trashing security, extra damage. So all in all, this is very commonplace. Then we do have the Phoenixmon deck. Again, this deck basically takes advantage of the fact that you have Phoenixmon X being able to use all on deletions, which means you get a Rush Gila for free with the Growl X, and you just can apply pressure the whole time. Your opponent's just never having a fun time when it comes down to that, and it just shows how the deck plays, right? You have your Garurumon X antibody that's just going to be able to gain rush, and when things played, it all just adds up. And for on deletion skills, just being able to proc multiple times is just really powerful. Now here's a Gallantmon list, which is cool. Where was this one? Gallant. There we go. Yep. So Gallantmon here, pretty stock. You got your Searcher Gilas, you use this Gilamon plus this Gilamon to kind of just combo off, Gilamon X antibody, you'll digivolve in raising, and then get into your Growlmons. Doesn't matter which one you get into, they're all going to apply pressure that way. The War Growl and War Growl X plus, Gallantmon X antibody is just really good, and then they use these boys to kind of just apply pressure as well. Again, this deck does so well because you can loop your pieces, get in those damage chips, and just make your opponent have a bad time. The 2 X antibody plus 1 protoform is just the standard way of going things right now. Now this is one for the books. Again, a lot of people have written out Greymon for a while now, but it looks like people are starting to adapt and test. So you have Agumon X, and the Agumon that'll play a tie out, which means you're going to deal more damage. You have Blitz Greymon Ace to be able to digivolve something 3. You have this one for multiple colors, so this can lead to being some shenanigans as well. I kind of like where they're going with certain things, because again, players are not always adapt to think like War Greymon, what's going to happen here? So, players are not used to older decks that just get some small support. Metal Greymon you weren't really expecting to pop off, but again, the new Metal Greymon is able to remove threats, so being able to, use the restricted, Greymon X antibody to reduce the Digivolution cost from that 3 cost to now being a 1 cost means that you get to climb into an Alterius mode, or your, Metal Greymon X antibody, being able to apply pressure that way. So it all just leads up to being really scary for your opponent to deal with. You have Blitz Greymon Ace to be able to be an ace target as you have some sort of protection, which again, this deck had one of the strongest protections early on, and it just shows that over time it went down. Now here's a fun list that I figured it would be kind of cool to look at, because Bloom Lord doesn't really make top 10 very often, but it's really cool to see Bloom Lord just being able to apply pressure that it does. Tribumon Ace, Puppetmon Ace, Medieval Gallants are just many resource tools, especially because your board is always wanting to be rested and suspended. So you just gain some great value off of the Medieval, Mimi to help proceed to rush more. Boulder Arm is a really spicy tech, plus you have Quartzmon being Quartzmon. But all in all, here's a look at puppets. Yeah, interesting. Wasn't expecting this kind of puppets. I wasn't expecting the Sistermons. Are people really playing the Sistermons? I mean, I kind of get it because of they are puppets and all legal targets, right? Sistermon Blanc being able to draw to discard 1 is just really decent, just for an on play. Seal will just give a boost in attack to your Sistermon, so they can at least hit a little bit stronger. You have Nomecamon, and again, these all can be played, and then you can digivolve into their counterpart in their Awaken modes. So I don't know long-term wise if this deck version will be how they go about it, and I think they are playing promo Ariza, so yeah. But all in all, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely check Eagle Nest out. His, he always posts links in below. I'll probably just copy in this, put this in the description. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.